Hello everyone, and welcome to today's ISV Partner webinar focused on digital transformation and boosting the efficiency of your research core facilities with a dedicated service portal. My name is Jess David, and I manage our ISV Partners, or Independent Software Partners, here at ServiceNow. And my job is to really harness the power of the ServiceNow platform and drive real innovation through our third-party application partnerships, and then make them readily available to you on your instance through the ServiceNow store. I'm delighted to be joined today by Corelia, who are one of our ISV partners based in France. And before I pass over to them, I'm just going to cover a bit of housekeeping. So today's webinar will last 45 minutes to an hour. It will be recorded and it will be available on demand shortly after the live cast. You'll receive an email probably an hour after with a link to the recording. And if you want to pass that to any of your colleagues, you just need to send it to them and get them to register, and then they'll be able to access the recording. And secondly, you will be muted for the duration of the webinar, but we'd still love to hear from you. You can enter your questions into the Q&A box on the bottom of your screen, and if time permits, we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. And if we run out of time, don't worry, the team from Corelia will get back to you with the answers to your questions. And with that covered, I want to hand over to Pierre from Corelia to begin the webinar.
Okay, thank you, Jess. Good morning and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for this webinar. I'm Pierre Merea, founder of Corelia. And what we want to do this morning is sharing a strong belief we have at Corelia. We believe that service management best practices and solutions can help research become more efficient. Service management comes from the IT world. It emerged about 25 years ago when it became clear that businesses and generally all activities were increasingly depending on IT, and that IT had to be managed as a service, enabling business, and no longer as a technology. So this gave birth to a framework describing best practices, processes, organization and tools that need to be put in place in order to achieve the quality of service required by the business. And this model has been widely accepted worldwide, and it has expanded since into non-IT services like human resources services, for instance, or customer service. And it has become a trusted guidance for service providers in general. And by the way, this has also created a big market for education and consultancy services like we do at Corelia, and software solutions with ServiceNow clearly being the leading platform in this area. So as we think that modern research is increasingly depending on technology platforms, specific scientific equipment platforms, but also including, by the way, a lot of IT, and as those platforms increasingly get shared because of their cost, complexity, and the specific high-level expertise needed to build and maintain them, we see an interesting parallel between IT and research, and we're convinced that what worked well to make IT and other business services more efficient can also work for research, and this is what we're going to talk about this morning. So in terms of the agenda, we're going to start with about 20 minutes of presentation, and then this will be followed by a demo of our lab management portal application for about 20-25 minutes. And as Jess said, you may ask questions during the webinar. So we'll end up with answering the questions and some form of wrap-up and conclusion. Just a few words about Corelia to start with. The company was created 4 years ago. As I said, we really specialize on service management, and we have a team of consultants and experts with many years of experience in this area. And from the beginning of the company, we had an innovation program in mind, which finally led to the creation of a dedicated company fully owned by Corelia, Corelia Tech, beginning of last year, which is in charge of developing our own software solutions on top of the ServiceNow platform, as I will explain that later on. So, as I said in the introduction, we identified research as a market opportunity. And finally, we came up beginning of this year with an application that we're going to show you in a few minutes. So let's go back to research now. Okay, so what are the major trends in research? So this is not an exhaustive view of research, but the trends that we think are interesting to highlight in relation with the discussion we had this morning. So first of all, and you know this probably better than I do, research has become a mission-critical activity for our societies in general, with the vital issues that we are facing in terms of the climate, healthcare, growing population, but also for businesses as in an environment, market environment made of change, permanent change. Innovation is really key for most businesses to differentiate themselves, and there's no innovation without research. So it's a very strategic and critical activity. The second thing I think is interesting is the cooperation. I was struck when I started to look into this area by the way that major research organizations and companies as well were presenting their research activities, and they were really stressing the number of projects that were run in cooperation, be it public-private cooperation, international cooperation, cooperation between research teams of various fields. This is something which is really, really important in the way research projects are conducted today, and this has an impact in the organization processes and tools that need to be placed to manage those cooperation projects. The third trend I'd like to highlight is what we call the digital workplace. Just the fact that as everything else, research is getting digital, and this is not only the fact that people coming to work today tend to expect the same kind of digital services that they are used to in their private life, but this has also to do with, as I said in the introduction, the automation and the efficiency of research workflows as well. And the last trend, I touched it as well in the introduction, is the fact that technology platforms are increasingly at the center of the daily work in research, and those platforms become service providers themselves because they are shared and they offer their services to the research community internally or even externally in some cases. So, having seen the major trends from a global perspective, if we go now to the daily life of a scientist, I'll hand over to Audrey, which is with me. Audrey is Lab Management Portal product manager, and she's also coming from research. She was a researcher prior to joining Caradia, and I think she's going to say a few words about what was her life before Caradia. Audrey?
Yes, good morning, everybody. So in my previous life as a researcher, I was confronted with the complexity of setting up a new experiment, a new technique. So from the idea to the rental of equipment and the realization of the experiment, the path can be very long and full of obstacles. Indeed, as this schema shows, when the researcher has an idea, he will have to document, on the one hand, to validate the interest of his project, but also find the right technology to achieve it. To do this, he will multiply the search tools of articles such as Google, scientific knowledge base, such as PubMed, etc. They can contact by email, by phone researchers who have already carried out this type of experiment. So getting the right protocol for your project can be very, very time consuming. Then the researcher, if he doesn't have the equipment in his laboratory, will have to find the technology outside, and in some cases to outsource this experiment because he haven't the time or the money to develop the technology and the expertise. To find this device, the puzzle begins because the bookings tools and websites are as diverse as the number of core facilities platforms. Indeed, usually there is no catalog, so the researcher uses the internet, lots of different tools as Google Calendar, Excel to find the existing devices. So then he must ensure the availability of them, ask permission to his manager to reserve a device or services, and obviously all this is done manually by mail, phone, for example. In the same way, I have to contact the manager of the platform to have the authorization to access to the catalog and to reserve. All this is done manually or via a variety of tools. And so, before arriving at the reservation and using the optimal instrument for my experiment, it can take a lot of time.
Okay. So, what do we mean by a modern service management platform? So, as I said, it's best practices and solutions implementing those best practices. We mean three things principally. One is the user experience, replacing the kind of puzzle that Audrey was just describing with something which can present very easily the service catalog, the catalog of services provided by the core facility, be it just equipment to rent for an experiment, or complex services, expertise, consulting maybe sometimes that are also provided. So this service catalog is presented on the portal with a user experience which really matches what we are used to in our daily lives with the modern web consumer services that everybody is using today. The second main thing is automation. The processes and workflows that are needed to deliver the services, the delivery supply chain, if you want, can be and need to be automated as much as possible for efficiency, for productivity, and also for guaranteeing the right user experience. And the last thing is collaborative, contextual collaboration, tools that enable people to cooperate around a project, because we're talking about service, and a service is also putting people in relation, not just machines talking to machines and automation. So you need to have things like user-friendly collaborative tools, like chat capabilities, and you also need to have an access to all the information needed, which means that everything goes into one place, one system of records and action, one database that you can get access through the portal. So this is what we've tried to do at Keradia with Lab Management Portal, our application. So in order to do that, we set up a team mixing scientists like Audrey and software people, architects, developers, plus a couple of our service management experts and consultants to really match the best practices to the research environment and to the management of research shared platforms or core facilities and the specificities they have. And that team came up with a solution that we call Lab Management Portal. And as you can see on this slide, the idea is, as I said, to get access to everything you need to run a research project through one single application with one very easy to use, customizable, user-friendly portal, and with a set of automated workflows like the reservations, for instance. We see that in the demonstration later on, all the approvals that are needed to make the process really fluid and smooth for the user, and to make this very, very productive and efficient to use. So why ServiceNow at this point? As I said in the introduction, ServiceNow is probably one of the most, if not the most advanced cloud application development platform. So the benefits we're getting from using the ServiceNow technology, from leveraging this technology, that we can concentrate on developing the function and the features that are required for research, and not to integrate or develop the underlying technology that is needed. So ServiceNow is certainly the world-leading platform for enterprise service management. And it's a world-class SaaS infrastructure, meaning performance, availability, 24/7, above 5,000 customers worldwide. And interestingly enough, for our context, they have a very strong footprint in higher education, university, academics in general, and life sciences in particular. And this is something which is very recent, that ServiceNow has been recently awarded by Forbes the title of number one world most innovative company in 2018. So what we do, I don't want to get into too much technical details, but just for you to understand, in this slide, you see the platform with the cloud. So there's nothing to install on your side. Everything is running on the cloud, and to use Lab Management Portal, you only need an internet access from your desktop or from your mobile. Then you see that technology which is provided by the platform, like using Portal, like knowledge bases, like contextual collaboration, like automation that we don't need to really bother about. And we've just built Lab Management Portal as an application. On this slide, you can see other type of applications, like for instance, the IT management application, which can be interesting because, as I said in the introduction, the technology platforms in research also rely on a lot of IT. And those IT services that you're relying on for your technology platforms might also be managed in the same application, in the same platform. So this is giving you a really consistent view about the services you're providing. So this is what Lab Management Portal is and how it's built. And if you look now at the user base who can use this application, it's really aimed at everybody who is working in research. So primarily the researchers, engineers, and technicians who are working on the projects, but also from the management point of view, the platform on the core managers who will get a lot of information, as we'll see in the demo, about usage, about billing, for instance, about maintenance as well of the equipment, and also the administrative staff, managers, financial controllers that may be also intervening in the administrative and financial aspects of the core facility. So that's it for the presentation. Just one last slide, if I can show it. That will show you the functionality we now have in the application. So as I said, in the version you're going to see, you have a service portal. Not sure you can see my slide. Okay, it's coming on stage. Okay. So you should be able to see the slide. Sorry about that. So we have a service portal where you can describe your service catalog and your instrument catalog. We have a reservation engine which allows for scheduling and reservation of equipment, services, and experiments. We have usage and billing management, maintenance and downtime management for compliance reasons, so that you can guarantee that your equipment are always fit for the experiments they run. Knowledge management, so we'll see that on the demo. You can access to the application knowledge base, but also to external knowledge bases, all from the portal, and a lot of online reporting and dashboards, which are customizable. We'll show you a few examples of that. But from this dashboard facility, which is clearly the feature from the platform, you can build any kind of analytics that you want to do about the rest. So with this, we're going to go to the demo, and I'll hand over to Audrey.
Okay, so our demo will break it down into 4 scenarios. The first 2 will be around the booking. The first is exactly the case that I presented to you previously. A researcher, Marie, starts an experiment. She described this experiment through the search of our app with keywords to find the right protocol. From this article, we'll be suggesting the device to reserve, and we will discuss the notion of bundle, which corresponds to a package of instruments and services. This is customizable by the platform manager. Then the reservation of this bundle and the validation of the platform manager will be done. The second scenario, Marie must find a device absolutely for tonight. I will show you the speed with which, thanks to the filters, she finds the device and book it. The third scenario concerns planning and monitoring an experiment. And the last will take place on the platform manager side, and I will show you how easy it is to manage the business with dynamic reports of different dashboards. So now let's go for the demo. Okay, so I'm not sure you see my screen. Okay. Maybe we have to wait a few minutes.
Yeah, I think it might take a few minutes.
What? Okay. That's it. So after login, Marie arrives to the application portal. There we find an access to the catalog, the knowledge base, and the community. So as I described previously, Marie will be able to use the search engine with keywords to find the optimal device for the experiment that she wants to realize. So I can describe here my experiment, and in this case she finds articles. No, sorry. Wait a minute. So she can find articles from the knowledge base, and the power of the tool is that on the right side it is suggesting the devices to use to achieve this equipment. Okay, there is problem with screenshot. Okay, So on the right side, you have a related model that you can use for realize this experiment. So you have simple model, single model, like this microscope, or you can have also bundle group of devices. So in this bundle, I can find specific instruments as microscope, more conventional, traditional equipment, computer, but I can also associate the calendar of a person, an assistant, for example. So the advantage is that the user chooses one slot, only one slot for the three, and one slot for the three. Okay, so then okay. And the system is responsible for crossing the availability of each. Okay, so after I add this in my cart, my shopping cart, and I can see all the booking information. I can add comments to this reservation and checkout. So comment and checkout. So as you can see on the right of the table, we have the approval is requested. So in this workflow, we added an approval, but this is totally completely customizable by the admin, and the platform manager can use his phone to validate this booking. So I show you with my phone. Just a few minutes. Okay, so I go on the ServiceNow app, and George, the platform manager, wait, just a few minutes, there is a delay. Okay. So, okay, I go in my approval, and as you can see, I see all the items that Marie wants to reserve, and George can approve it really quickly with his phone. And here Marie can see that, so, okay, a few minutes. So, okay, all the three items are validated, and Marie can see on this page that her booking is approved. Okay, so now she can also use the catalog to access reservations. So this catalog is organized into categories. So you can have specialized instruments or IT instruments as computer, but also you can put in this catalog services. So everything is customizable also by the platform manager. Okay, so she can choose this device, and if she wants to book imperatively this kind of device tonight, she can use the filter and just have to choose the date, the slot of tonight, and the system proposed to her all the devices available in different places corresponding to this model. She can book, so she can choose this one and book it. Add a specialized instruction for the platform manager and book it. So it's really fast, but not the video. Okay, so special instruction and she can order it. Okay, so now as I told to you in the catalog, you can have some services such as experiments. So now we can plan and buy experiments. So you have different kind of experiment. This is right and proposed by the platform manager or researcher. And in this protocol, you have an abstract and the procedure. So Marie just have to choose a date for the beginning of this experiment. Okay, so she chooses that and she can submit this experiment. Okay, so this is sent to the platform manager. So from this page, Marie can follow the experiment, the progression of the experiment. And if I go in the platform manager view side, okay, so I can choose the experiment management dashboard, and with this dashboard, I have access to a pending experiment or planned experiments, and I can find the experiment of Marie Curie. So to start the experiment, George click on Let's Go, and can pass after step by step the step of the procedure. Marie can after follow her experiment, and if she wants, she can have comments for George. So send comments to George. And George can attach documents, pictures for requested by Marie. Okay, so Marie can have access to this document, and she can export it, save it if she wants. Okay, so when all the steps is done, George can complete the experiment by clicking on Done, and the status of the experiment is completed. I don't know if you see the notification on the right side. Marie can also follow this experiment by Slack. It is another solution to follow the experiment and to comment this. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how the platform manager can control all his business. He can control the instruments, users, accesses in a very simplified way via dashboards. All the reports and dashboards are fully customizable. So we have a dashboard for device activity management. So in this one, you can check and manage the reservation, instruments and availability as you want. With the instrument picker here, you can choose the instrument that you want to see in the calendar. You can go on, click on the reservation, and deactivate it if you want via the report. And automatically the booking is the reservation. The booking is deactivated, and the user is notified. So as you can see on the calendar, we have no more the booking. Okay, so we have other reports that you can export, so booking metrics and availability metrics. You can customize all these reports. You can add all the dashboards that you need. And all this can be exported, saved as JPEG or PNG. Okay, so then I can easily put a device down. So using this matrix report, I just have to click on the report. If you want to put the flow cytometer in month, you can cross the two information, and just have to click on New and create an availability. After you choose a period, and automatically bookings covering this period are canceled, and users are notified. Okay, so now here 9 bookings has been canceled. and the user are notified. Okay. So next, then we have a dashboard that manages users, their accreditation, their accesses, a dashboard for billing data that the manager will be able to filter by cost center, by platform, by team, by user, and if you click on the report, you can export all the data of this billing by Excel, for example. In Excel, for example, in this form. Okay, so all the data export by Excel and export in Excel form. Okay, so so I have finished with the demo. I will now give Pierre the floor again.
Okay. Okay, so if we go back to the presentation, I've not seen questions so far. So if you have questions on what has been presented, you can ask your question through your screens. And for the time being, I just want to share with you some view about our roadmap for the end of this year and next year. So what you've just seen, experiment design based on this Flow Designer module that Audrey showed you, with the possibility of designing experiments and then running those experiments. That would also allow a searcher in the next version to model an experiment. The case we've just seen is an experiment which was already designed that you can buy from the platform or schedule from the platform. But a searcher would be also have the possibility to design with there's no programming. It's a very, very simple graphical interface that allows you to design an experiment and model the workflow of that experiment. And the Slack integration, because Slack is a tool which is widely used in research. We also come with our next version next September. And then for the end of 2018, we'll add an integration with an application of project portfolio management, PPM, which is a ServiceNow application that will enable a research center to manage from the portfolio of projects and the projects till down to the experiment level that we've just seen. And we also add mechanisms for better integration with external catalogs. For instance, if you want to give an access to your community of searchers to external platforms, that module will allow you to have a seamless integration with external catalogs. And we're also working on integrating what we call Internet of Objects, Internet of Things, IoT, and working, for instance, on providing details about the temperature or environment of an experiment by connecting directly to the equipment and sensors that you may find in the lab, and providing that information as well in the flow that you've just seen when you're following an experiment. And we're also working on an integration with the IT service management application for ServiceNow, which may be, as I said, helpful if you're managing your IT services in that same application, to have a consolidated view of everything, including the IT services supporting your technology platforms. And then in the longer term for next year, we're working on improving machine learning and IoT integration, embedding new interfaces with so-called virtual agent functionality, intelligent agent functionality from the Now platform, which would allow, for instance, vocal interfaces instead of the chat that we've just seen in the experiment. And we're also working on improving from the administrative side the view of the agent, the view of the platform manager that we've seen, adding dashboard, adding a consolidated view of the activities, and also adding the pre-project ideation activity, which is particularly important in the academic research, maybe a little less so in the private world, but in academics, it's really something which is important. And then I will conclude in terms of the benefits as we see them. As I said in the introduction, the idea is to contribute to a more efficient work environment for research, and for the three categories of users that we target with this application. For scientists, I think that the main thing is to provide a really easy user experience, simple and modern service portal, and make the scientists more productive and add them less time-consuming processes and workflows, and let them allow 100% of their time to research and not losing time with some side activities. For the platform managers, it's certainly a better visibility on the platform utilization, better visibility on the services offered, and optimization of the usage due to a better management of usage and billing. And it's also more simple and time-saving because everything gets automated. And for instance, the usage data, the billing processes are automatically provided by the application. There's no longer need to use Excel spreadsheets and consolidate various spreadsheets in order to get a global view. And for research managers, I think that the main benefit would be improved collaboration and the increased overall efficiency of the research teams, and also maybe an improved quality of results because you're relying on an infrastructure, a technology platform that is really managed and compliant, and so you can guarantee the results of the research projects you're doing. So overall, that should lead to a better return on investment on those platforms, which is particularly important, as we said in the introduction, given the strategic importance of research today. Okay, so if there are no more questions, we're done. So it's about 50 minutes since we start. So thank you very much for listening. As just said in the introduction, this webinar will be recorded and you can play it on demand and share it with your colleagues. Again, my apologies for the latency time you've seen on the demo. There was some delay between the application and the media player that was showing on your screen. So it was a little bit tricky on our side to adjust the commentary to the demo, but I guess you've got a good view of what the product can do for you. So thanks very much, and let's stay in touch in the future. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.